Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Nick Cage Fight podcast, where we learn that a movie's overall quality is directly correlated to the amount of screen time dedicated to John Goodman screaming incoherently. I'm one of your hosts, Josh, joined as always by my faithful companions and compatriots, Rich and Ryan. How are we?
I'm on the lam.
I'm so much better than last time.
Absolutely. This movie rules.
100%. We really needed a morale boost here on the pod. The run we've been on has not been ideal, but this movie absolutely kicks ass. That movie, of course, being Raising Arizona, a 1987 film rated PG-13 and clocking in at a smooth hour and 34 minutes. Absolutely perfect. There's no fat on this film at all. Perfectly lean. I'm excited. Can we jump right into housekeeping? So we can start.
Yeah, let's get to it because I'm ready to just fly through this movie.
Absolutely. I want to make sure we shout out the cinematographer though, because that's kind of interesting. So if you didn't already note that down, I'll talk about him for a minute once we get to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I leave the cinematography to you because you have a larger and deeper breadth of knowledge about that. But it's cool because housekeeping is kind of trim as well for this particular film because we have a writer and director team. So, it'd be the same thing to talk about for both of them. But we are talking, of course, about Joel and Ethan Coen, known for both writing and directing the following. Blood Simple, their earliest entry. Barton Fink, Fargo, Big Lebowski, No Country for Old Men. I mean, Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I can continue, but you know who these folks are, right?
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? Absolutely.
Miller's Crossing. Great
filmmakers. Yeah.
Everything they do is basically a must-watch.
Even their lesser films are excellent. Like you mentioned Barton Fink. A lot of people would consider that a lesser Coen Brothers film.
I love that to death. I love Barton Fink.
Too. But now is a good time to bring up the cinematographer because we covered writer, director, bam. Done. Right.
So
super simple.
Our cinematographer, our director of photography today is Barry Sonnenfeld, the director, who directed Men in Black, Wild Wild West, and a bunch of other random shit. But his CV for cinematographer is kind of interesting. He did do Blood Simple with the Coens. He also did the film Big with Tom Hanks. When Harry Met Sally. And this one's out of left field. Fucking Misery.
Son of a bitch.
Nice.
That is very intriguing.
Yeah, he's got a very distinct visual style that I appreciate.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can see some of that threaded throughout this particular film.
Oh, he also directed both of the Addams Family live action movies.
Both of the original live action.
The 90s ones. Gotcha. Yeah.
Because they are expanding and continuing to cash in on that franchise. I'll tell you what.
I heard something crazy about those movies today, and really just about an actress in those movies. Do you remember like the witch who was what's her name's mom?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know about the Anarchist Collective Up Against the Wall, motherfucker?
Yeah.
You ever heard about them? She was one of the founders of that.
That fucking rules.
Yeah. Like she was like one of the more artsy people in it because they had like kind of two sects. They had like the militant wing and then like the art wing, and she was like someone in the art wing. She was in a polyamorous relationship, like got arrested numerous times, got arrested for not paying her taxes, and her plea when she pleaded innocent was, "We don't like the government, so we're not paying our taxes."
Now, is this Judith Malina that we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. I'm gonna have to look into that.
Oh yeah. We stand a queen like that on this pod.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast about Up Against the Wall, motherfucker, today, and they mentioned her by name, and I'm like, oh shit,
that is funny. Solid. I'm prepping our audience right now. There's going to be a ton of offshoot anecdotes about people in this film or tangentially related to this film. It's going to be kind of heavy on that.
Awesome. when it's a good film, that's what tends to happen, because it's like half of this podcast is essentially just bitching about how things could have gone better. Yeah. And this movie is great, no notes. So we're just going to talk about other things while like Rising Arizona is just on in the background.
Yeah, extolling the absolute virtues of this film because it's got a lot of them. If we're all cool, I'm going to move on to the cast.
Let's
I think
do
we're
it.
good. Okay, Nick Cage, obviously man of the hour, every hour, at least in our lives, plays H.I. McDonough, also known colloquially as High. Next up, we have Holly Hunter as Ed. Edwina is short for Edwina. I'm fairly certain.
Yeah, they call her Edwina a few
A
times.
couple times, yeah. I was just double checking. Who was in a number of films, including Crash, the one about car accidents making people horny, not the Oscar bait one.
The good one.
The good one,
The
absolutely.
one we stand on this podcast.
Yes. Broadcast news, The Piano, The Big Sick, and also Elastigirl from The Incredibles. As far as I can tell, all throughout the series and voiceovers in video games.
Also, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, to tie it back together to the Coens.
Absolutely.
Yep, I was going to mention that. I was also going to mention that she had a nice little run on Succession.
Oh shit, she was the attorney for the other family, right?
Yes,
I
she was.
finally caught up with this. My boss was like highly recommending the film the series, and I'm a slut for prestige TV, so I was like, I have to watch this both because I know it's highly lauded and it's probably going to be good for my career. So I'm excited for the new season to come out. But yeah, no, okay, I know exactly who she is in that. So very solid casting there. Next up, we have John Goodman as Gale. John Goodman, who is also in Barton Fink, another Coen Brothers joint. 10 Cloverfield Lane, which I thought was actually a great entry to that particular viral marketing scheme turned into film franchise.
Yeah, I like that one a lot, actually.
Yeah,
that was really good.
There is the theory that they made that movie and then decided to make it a Cloverfield, but I don't know if there was any actual evidence of that.
I don't care because it worked really well. You know what I mean?
And it would have worked as a standalone film too. Like, it would have been fine either way.
I mean, it basically was like knowing the fact that it was attached to the Cloverfield franchise. I thought it was fantastic that knowing that going in, they had me second guessing that there was an alien invasion going on at all up until the final moments of the film.
Yeah.
Very well done. He was also in Argo, Flight. This is a personal call out of mine because it's not included in his top credits, but Red State.
The Kevin Smith movie.
Kevin Smith's first foray into what could be considered horror prior to Tusk.
It was one of his first forays out of the Jersey, the View Askew universe, I think is what they called it.
Yeah.
Also, not for nothing, I give him full credit for kind of calling this shit a little bit early, as far as the zeitgeist is concerned, a little bit earlier than other elements of pop culture. Also, one of my favorite lines in a film entirely, in the inquiry that follows the end, like the Waco like ending of it, where it's like, oh yeah, you're not gonna get in trouble for any of this, and he's like, why? And he's like, if I can speak frankly, because fuck those people. And of course, Roseanne, which Roseanne Barr's unfortunate descent into dementia in a very public fashion was actually a rather formative show for me. I actually wrote a paper in college calling Malcolm in the Middle the spiritual successor to the concept of Roseanne, which is a sitcom centered on a realistic, middle class or lower middle class American family. So, like I said, say what you will about Roseanne Barr, but that show itself was kind of important to showing what is a reality for a majority of people in this country that I think Malcolm in the Middle continued, unlike things like Friends, where the apartments they were living in would not be affordable outside of a six-figure income, which none of them appeared to have.
Anyway. Yeah, never really figured out Friends or like How I Met Your Mother. Like, y'all are both unemployed. How are you affording a 2-bedroom in like the Upper West Side?
Yeah, it's impossible. Whereas shows like Roseanne had like clearly a family knit Afghan, blanket on the back of the couch. Like I literally had one of those in my house. It was very relatable at the time.
Yeah.
So anyway, William,
I got one more for John Goodman because I want to rewatch this movie this week. And when I was looking down his CV, I was like, oh shit, he was in that. He was in a movie called True Stories, a film about a bunch of people in Virgil, Texas. directed by Talking Heads David Byrne.
Oh,
It's a weird fucking film, and John Goodman is just depressed in the whole thing, and it's really funny.
I kind of want to see that.
It
Also,
has like this weird Easter egg thing where there's twins in the background of every fucking scene, but it's a different set of twins every time.
where'd they find all those twins?
I don't know.
Also, funny about Byrne, I think I just recently saw somebody rehashing online the feud he had with some other musician. I can't remember if it was somebody else involved with Talking Heads at the time, but apparently they fucking hated each other. And this person tried to get Burns like thrown out of the band at several occasions. I'm not very up on my Talking Heads lore, but I just thought that was a little coincidental.
I feel like it was probably, why am I blanking on his name? The dude in the Velvet Underground.
Oh,
Lou Reed.
Lou Reed, yeah.
Because Lou Reed just hated everybody for basically no reason.
I don't think it was Lou Reed in this particular conversation that I'm recalling, but I couldn't say for sure.
And also, I maintain the fact that Velvet Underground is the most hyped up band in the history of bands.
They've got two really good albums.
No, I will not explain.
Wait, like over?
They're not that great. Yeah, they're not
Okay.
that great. They're not that great.
I like Loaded. I like White Light, White Heat. Those are both pretty good albums.
I feel like Lou Reed is somebody who enjoys the smell of his own farts.
Oh, I absolutely agree, but like he's not the only man in that band.
Also, you're going to run into that a lot in music. I mean, even really good music, you're going to run into that a lot. Another aside, I saw another conversation where people were rehashing Billy Corgan's terrible politics, but saying
Billy Corgan's terrible everything.
It's forgivable because of that weird like cat magazine that he ran for years.
Hold on. Do you want to hear the wildest shit about Billy Corgan?
Yeah,
I'd love to.
All right. So I don't know if you know this, but Billy Corgan currently owns the NWA, not the cool rap group, but the wrestling organization that has not been relevant since the 1980s.
I did know that.
So what he decided to do was he decided to put the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, one of the most prestigious titles in the history of wrestling, onto this man named Tyrus. If you don't know who Tyrus is, he is a Fox News commentator.
I'm sorry. It sounds like you're making this up.
He is a pro wrestler turned Fox News commentator. He is this big, like, he's like their token black guy. He's maybe 6'6", 400 pounds, hasn't been able to actually do a wrestling move since 2011, wears like fuzzy bucket hats and chains, and he likes to complain about poor people. Like, he's like the guy they go to when it's just like, we don't hate black people. Here's Tyrus. He's their current world heavyweight champion. So good on you, Billy Corgan.
Okay.
Current NWA champion
in this year of our Lord 2023.
Yes, Google a picture of this man.
The heavyweight champion of a defunct wrestling organization.
It's not defunct. You just think it's defunct because they don't matter.
Do they still do shows?
Yes, and they draw about maybe 150 people. I'm gonna drop an image of this man into chat. So
wait. I'm sorry. Look up where they do their live shows. If they come anywhere near our geographic region, we have to do a podcast vacation to catch.
I've seen where they do their live shows. It's in a studio that holds 150 people. Fucking GCW that does deathmatch wrestling draws 1,000 people at the Showboat Atlantic City.
All right, if they're anywhere near us when they do a show, we're going.
All right,
I'll subsidize that personally.
I did drop an image of this man in the chat.
I've got him pulled up. I'm looking at him right now.
Yeah, you can tell why I'm saying that. Like, yeah, he's like he's like the one black friend.
Yeah, no, he looks oddly familiar. Okay. So we got to
get back to Rising Arizona. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Can we talk about William Forsythe? I want to talk about. I've been dying to talk to you guys about William Forsythe as Avell.
Yeah,
this individual was in a number of things that you'd probably recognize him from. including one that I didn't double check because I just wanted us to talk it out as we see what our general collective knowledge is. But he was in Devil's Rejects, Dick Tracy, Boardwalk
Yeah, he's
Empire,
Flat Top. Oh fuck, he is in Dick Tracy.
and in my notes I specifically have, oh no, he was in God's Not Dead, We the People,
That
which
is correct.
Oh
Yes, I did
no.
see that on his
I
IMDb.
so now you guys weigh in on this because this is the one I didn't go back to double check. Is he the dude who, like, the criminal who is like running the prison when Kingpin goes to jail in the Daredevil Netflix series that introduces the John Barenthal Punisher?
I don't think he was.
Marvel's Daredevil 2016.
Was it?
I thought it was him.
Huh.
I thought it was
Oh,
him,
yeah,
and I
there it
purposely
is.
didn't check myself on it.
He's in one episode of it. I guess that's the
Yes.
specific scene you're talking about. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
I thought so.
He also has a Nick Cage connection with The Rock.
That is
Oh,
correct
yeah.
as well. Yes, I was going to shout that one out.
One of the Holy Trinity.
Okay, I need to see, because he was also in a movie in 2020 called Roe v. Wade.
Oh God! Oh no!
Damn it.
Oh,
Is that
fuck.
was that another one from like the weirdo Christian sect that pumps out movies?
Yeah, probably. You mean like fucking Kevin Sorbo's mouthpiece?
Yeah, they've got a number of them now.
This is by a guy named Nicholas Loeb who doesn't seem too great.
The weird Kevin Sorbo like subset of Hollywood that switched into very strange niche evangelical Christian sort of outputs includes.
You can just say movies for half-wits. It's okay.
I don't disagree, but I have a weird fascination with keeping up with that particular segment of America because there's a uncomfortable number of them in general.
Yes.
But they do also include what's her name? Melissa Joan Hart, the
that's a shame.
Original, yeah,
because she kind of used like a bunch of Christmas fucking Hallmark movies as a jumping off point into that nutso.
What was the one guy who used to, like, it used to be completely segmented where this one former actor sort of bankrolled the whole thing, and I can't remember his fucking name.
Was it the kid from Seventh Heaven?
It might have been. What the?
I can't remember his name either, but I think it might have been him if I can remember his fucking name.
It used to just be him pumping out all of this stuff, and now there's a whole sort of semi-cottage industry about surrounding it. And
I'm just gonna type into Google or DuckDuckGo, dude who makes bad Christian movies.
His name has a real alliterative quality to it.
I know exactly. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm trying to find him too.
This is some solid content we're making, by the way.
No, it's fair.
Yo, is it Kirk Cameron?
Kirk Cameron, yes.
100%. Yes. It used to just be him, and the cohort is growing, and it's awful.
Jesus.
Next up, we have Sam McMurray as Glenn. He's been in a number of things, including Drop Dead Gorgeous, LA Story, Addams Family Values, and a metric fuck ton of like TV and video game voice work.
The one that always jumps out at me is he's on like 49 episodes of The Dinosaurs, a show I love that also has John Goodman.
Absolutely.
Wait, he was in Dinosaurs?
He's in a lot of Dinosaurs.
So wait. Dinosaurs, was that a show that spawned from like the We're Back movie, or is it another?
No, completely unrelated.
Completely different dinosaur.
Completely different dinosaurs.
Yeah, it was like animatronic dinosaurs.
Oh
yes.
Shit! No. The I'm the baby, gotta love me.
Gotta love
right?
me. Yes.
Yeah, which is the only bad thing about that show. That show like actually fucks.
That show ends with the fucking comet coming down.
The most apocalyptic ending to a series of all time. I watched that growing up in the last episode.
But like, watch like the first 2 seasons, because like they talk about things and they kind of hide their like dog whistles really well. But they talk about things that if it were done in like a normal sitcom, like if Family Matters did it, they would have been canceled.
Oh, I believe
Like,
that.
good challenging the conversation or bad challenge?
Good,
Are you
good,
trying to
good
ruin
challenging.
dinosaurs for me?
No. Good challenging the
Okay, cool.
conversation.
Okay, good,
Yeah,
solid.
I might
Where
be
like
mistaken. I don't think John Goodman was actually on that
I
show.
was gonna say I kind of glossed over that because I thought you were wrong.
I am
But
wrong. That is a dude named Stuart Pankin who's just doing a John Goodman impression.
Yeah, even the dad's like outfits and shit, I think was 100% designed to steal whole cloth John Goodman's character in Roseanne.
Absolutely. I
Absolutely.
think
Yeah.
that's what made me mistake it. Yeah. Oh fuck, I forgot Jessica Walters is the mom on that. She's always
Um,
great.
yeah.
so next up, because we're rounding out housekeeping now, we have Trey Wilson as Nathen Arizona Senior, just to specify, who is in Bull Durham, Twins, and FX.
FX is great. I love that movie. Fucking
I love
adult
Bull
ass Home
Durham.
Alone.
I love Bull Durham.
Bull
It's a
Durham's pretty
great,
good. That's
great
the
baseball movie.
yeah. I do remember liking that one.
Yeah, where he makes him wear the women's underwear so he stops thinking on the mound.
Yep.
Next up, we have Randall Tex Cobb as Leonard Smalls.
And you know what? I am going to get into this here because we're a half hour into housekeeping, so fuck it at this point. My man has the wildest life. Like, he was in some great movies and also had an amazing boxing career. This dude started his career 17-0, fought Larry Holmes, went the distance with him. He lost, but still went the distance. He beat Leon Spinks in like 1988, which like was a few years past Leon Spinks's prime, but still like the dude's like 37 and 5. He's 42-7.
God damn, that's
a
hell of a
crazy
record.
fucking record.
That's a crazy record. And then he's also 2-1. No, he's 9-2 kickboxing.
Good lord.
Absolutely
like this
wild.
is a legitimately terrifying man.
Yeah, he's gigantic.
Yeah. No, big ups to Randall Cobb. Hope you missed out on CTE, because you didn't get beat too often, but goddamn, that's a hell of a fucking career in martial sports. I hope you made it out with your brain intact.
Well, I don't know, because he stopped acting in 2000. He's still alive, but 2000 he was in a movie called Vice, not the good one, a one that does not have a Wikipedia page. He was in Liar Liar.
He was in Liar Liar. Some other things he was in: Uncommon Valor, Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, Naked Gun 33 and a Third, The Final Insult, Ernest Goes to Jail, and Blind Fury.
He was also in a sequel to The Dirty Dozen.
The Dirty Baker's Dozen?
It's just called The Dirty Dozen Deadly Mission.
Huh.
You gotta add another member to the cast.
Yeah, that's how the oceans work.
I know. And last but most certainly not least, for the call out, we have Frances McDormand as Dot. Almost, I would say, criminally underutilized in this film, except for the fact that her scenes are picture perfect. You would recognize her from Fargo, Almost Famous, Three Billboards, Burn After Reading, Primal Fear. I mean, come on, you know who this person is.
She's great.
Fantastic.
What more is there to say?
Exactly.
I do have one more before we go. M. Emmett Walsh plays the dude that's chewing High's ear off when he starts working at the factory. He's the guy who's trying to kill Steve Martin in The Jerk.
Oh shit.
Guy hates paint cans.
Fantastic. And that is going to officially wrap up housekeeping. A little bit longer than we normally go on that. But we got our asides in. And plus, this plot is butter smooth. It's going to go relatively quickly, I think. We're just going to pause to extol the virtues of this film. I think that's the primary thing that's going to slow us up as far as that's concerned. So, if we're all comfortable, let's jump into it. This movie opens with some narration from High as he's getting booked after an arrest. He hits on the officer taking his mugshot. This is Ed. We get a couple of quick cuts, essentially, a prison montage. Shows inmates in therapy, which is kind of funny. Shows him in front of the parole board, also funny. We get some classic Reagan slander from him, which I appreciate, but he waffles sort of at the end. Still,
I mean, it's
Uh,
not slander if it's true.
well, exactly. But no, I always appreciate people speaking truth to fucking Reagan's nonsense. But of course, as soon as High gets out, he robs the store and goes right back in. At this point, he learns that Ed, the officer that's taking the mugshots, was left by her fiance. And this time, while he's in, High starts considering some of the things that the therapist has said in these sessions that presumably he's forced to go to. So he's back in front of the parole board. He gets out. He robs the same store again, gets booked by Ed again. Only this time he gives Ed a ring before he gets taken away. And back in front of the parole board, after he gets out, he proposes to Ed for real while she's taking another prisoner's mugshot, I'm fairly certain. And High knows the individual getting booked. Very quick, very funny, solidly done. High and Ed get married, and High gets a job at a factory. This is where we get the funny scenes of a coworker standing around not doing anything and just talking his ear off with a bunch of non sequitur shit that I'm not even sure we get a resolution to. It's kind of like the going to a whorehouse with a donkey and a honeycomb non-resolution joke. Very, very good.
It's the Simpsons. So I says to Mabel, I says.
Yes, yes, exactly. So at some point in this rapid montage of time passing, we're informed of a couple of things. Ed's biological clock starts ticking pretty heavily, and High and Ed try and have a kid. Unfortunately, this process is not particularly successful, and Ed comes home one day with the awful news from the doctor that she is barren. Now,
did you note down the specific phrasing that Nick Cage uses in this scene, because it's glorious?
I remember it basically, but not verbatim. So if you got it,
I got it. It's I found out that her womb was a rocky land upon which my seed could find no purchase.
No purchase. Yes. That's another thing. Now's an appropriate time to talk about it. I love High's character in this film as a relatively simple individual who, is a repeat criminal offender, finds a shot at a semi-legitimate life, but all of his narration and prose is oddly flowery, you know what I mean, and eloquent with a little bit of rustic charm. It seems like it would have been complicated to write. That's just my personal opinion of it, but it is fantastic, very enjoyable, and that is just a prime example of what we deal with his narration throughout the course of the film. So given this, one more quick aside. When I say Ed was declared barren by a doctor, I was told when talking over this episode with some of the women in my life, primarily my fiance, that term is derogatory and not super great. I guess infertile is a better technical term for it. But the entire conversation broke down when when I was told if a doctor said that to me, I'd be very offended if they used the term barren. I said, what if they said it with a funny accent? And the conversation kind of spiraled from there. So I don't know how how impactful that is now. So just saying, we're quoting verbatim from the film there.
All right. Well, you know what else could be barren?
Our ad revenue? That's not good.
I was going to say our listeners' wallets after listening to these ads.
Both seems better.
both are good. And to just add to I'm going to say barren as much as I can in this, so that like so that your fiance can message me on Instagram and yell at me. But by going onto our Patreon, we can bleed you dry. Patreon.com/Nick Cage Fight, where we post nothing. You get bled dry. We just take your money. We put episodes up without advertisements. We do additional episodes where we will be watching The Wrestler.
Absolutely coming soon. 100%
absolutely coming soon. The Wrestler. But no, we are going to have an episode in March as well as April. We haven't decided which one, but like we had a collective meeting and we're like, guys, we got to do some Patreon bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in agreement. So
Yeah, unlike Ed's womb, our Patreon content is fertile and continually sprouting. So please check it out. And if you found that offensive, check out these ads, which are probably going to be horrendous and not in line with any of our personal morals.
Meanwhile, I had already shut up thinking that was the ad break. God damn.
I hope the ads are for gas station dick pills.
There you
Something
go.
that High definitely used at least once.
Good old dick pills.
Yep,
Hopefully...
I hope you enjoyed that advertisement for size more dick pills at your local gas station.
Got size
aside,
less, get size more.
We wish him a speedy recovery. I know he's having some medical issues right now. Back into it. No, in all seriousness, we love you, Tom Sizemore. Please,
we do. I'm laughing, but that joke was real good, yeah. Even though it's just a recycled community joke.
Very true. So, Ed and High, confronted with this issue of fertility, look into adoption, which is a noble endeavor. However, High's criminal history kind of puts the brakes on that particular avenue for them. There is a scene in the middle of this montage that I have to call out specifically because there's a great scene of Cage doing a full-on dead-eyed stare, frozen in the middle of the act of shaving his face in the bathroom. It's just plopped in the center of these quick cuts, and it just made an impression on me. So, calling it out. During this time, Ed and High also see a news story about an Arizona woman who had quintuplets. Also, and this is something that I found hilarious because they don't choose to expand upon it at all. Her husband is a very successful owner of a series of furniture stores, and these furniture stores being unpainted furniture. I think the idea is like the same type of joke from Breaking Bad where they have the pizza joint that doesn't cut the pizza and they pass the savings on to the consumer.
It was a very solid joke. The unfinished Arizona, I think is what it was called.
But absolutely amazing. But this news story gives Ed and High an idea. Good, bad, and different. It is the premise, the plot of this film. They decide to go and steal one of the babies. Cue title card. Solid intro. I like the title card being delayed to this point. Personally, gives us all of the foundation that we need for the events that are about to transpire.
It also plays off an excellent sound cue in the soundtrack because it's when the yodeling cowboy kicks in after all that banjo music that's kind of been leading up to it.
Also, love the musical choices in this film. Primarily, I'm thinking of a very particular scene where everything goes off the rails, and the music is fantastic. I base that entirely, again, on my fiance walking into the room and going, "What the fuck is this music?" I was like, "That's good music, baby.
That's good music."
Yeah, that's a good selection for this particular scene. So we get a scene of the Arizona household that shows Mr. Arizona taking a business call. This is so funny in such a subtle way. Like, they just had quintuplets, and the husband and wife are sitting in a literal sitting room, like no TV. They're reading newspapers. Mr. Arizona is taking a business call and being a hard-nosed businessman, shouting at some fucking employee over some minor logistical issue. Very, very funny. Also, a bit that they use that I know has been used multiple times. I'm not sure if it's been used before this specifically, but it's a very, very solid bit where the character states the time of day as the time of day flashes on the screen to let the viewer know what time it is. I thought that was great, personally. So while this couple is sitting downstairs reading and taking phone calls, upstairs, High has broken into the house using a ladder on the exterior to climb into the kids' room, and he is trying out babies, like picking them up, bouncing them a bit, seeing what their reactions are.
And I think this also paints the Arizonas again, because it's like, you have 5 babies. Why is one of you not watching your 5 goddamn children?
Yeah, no, they're just in a room separately, and they're also clearly relatively well off. There's no nanny that seems to be all of the kids are just shut in a room upstairs. But the trying out the babies bit got me so good because he's like, they're all identical twins. So he's like putting them down outside of the crib as he tries out each one. There's shenanigans as the babies like crawl off and stuff like that. He's sweating excessively throughout the course of the scene. And to top it all off, the kids' room is like a parody of a kid's room. You know what I mean? They have these gigantic toys. The decor, it's hard to put a finger on it as far as describing it in a verbal sense, but visually it's absurd. It's a bit of absurdism.
So what it looked like to me was like that scene from Big where Tom Hanks goes into a toy store and it has kind of the oversized stuff.
That's and he plays the big piano.
Right, but
with Robert
Loggia. All the other toys are kind of gigantic as well. That's what it kind of looked like to me.
Okay, I do have another piece of absurd trivia about those babies. 15 babies played those 5 babies. One of them got fired because he learned how to walk.
Oh man, poor kid.
Didn't flesh out his union contract.
Nope.
That's on that baby.
Apparently the mother went so far as to put the baby's shoes on backwards to prevent him from walking so he wouldn't lose the gig.
Good Lord.
Grim.
Hollywood parents, man. That's rough, dude.
Also, this is the start of one of my favorite running jokes of the movie is when Nathen Arizona demands something and then says, and this is what you're going to do, or my name is Nathen Arizona. He says it like 7 times in the movie, and it's funny every time because it's just always some absurd shit.
The further he gets into it is he's like, and if you don't do this, my name still isn't Nathen Arizona.
Or there's a few where he like pauses where he's like, and you're going to go, blah, 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 blah. Well, my name isn't Nathen Arizona. Then hangs up the phone.
I thought you were going to go into my next favorite bit from the film, which is determining which baby is ultimately taken. I fucking loved that. but we're a little bit away from that. So once again, Hai is testing out babies. He has to wrangle a couple back into the crib. Snatches all of the babies, gets them back in the crib just before Mrs. Arizona comes to check on them. By the way, for the record, these babies' names are Harry, Barry, Gary, Larry, and Nathen Jr. Fantastic. All of those names, by the way, spelled with a double R.
I didn't realize that.
Very important to point out. So
Nathen Jr., 2 R's.
Well, except for Nathen Jr. But Hai dips out to avoid being spotted by Mrs. Arizona, tries to go back to the car where Ed is waiting. Ed is pissed that Hai has come back to the car without a kid. She locks him out of the car and tells him, go back and try again. So as he climbs up the window again, Mrs. Arizona is holding one of the babies with her back to the window. Very funny scene where Hai is shushing the baby who can clearly see him so that it doesn't alert the mother. Once she leaves, Hai climbs in, snags the baby, and runs back to the car with the kid and one other item that he's stolen, which is a book called Dr. Spock's Baby and Child Care. Fantastic, because this particular set piece, this prop, continues throughout the course of the film. Solid decision on their part. So also this is the start of the bit that I love, where they're trying to figure out, they're like, which one did you take? He's like, I'm pretty sure it's Nathen Jr. Because again, he played musical chairs with these babies when he was testing them out. And that joke carries through to the rest of the film. So they take they take the baby back to their home. There is a bunch of funny insanity at this point. On the ride home, we get a great bit of Holly Hunter as Ed doing a screaming, like, emotional outburst about how much she loves this baby that they just kidnapped. Very funny. And
sobbing over it. It's great.
No, it's absurd. And when they get back home, they have a banner set up to say, welcome home, son. Hai does a quick last check that they baby proofed appropriately, including him throwing a Playboy underneath the mattress. And then Another bit that I absolutely love, there's a whole scene of Nick Cage holding this toddler like in front of him, pointing it at various parts of the house and explaining what that part of the house is used for as like a tour. It's so fucking hilarious. He's just holding a baby out at arm's length. He's like, that's the kitchen. That's where we'll eat meals and entertain guests.
Well,
This
that's
is
where
the
mom and pa chow down.
yeah, yeah. This is the living room where we have the TV. 2 hours a day max. That would be for like documentaries or sports. I can't
No.
remember
He says educational or football, nothing that'll rot your brain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Absolutely hilarious. And then they set up to take a High sets up a camera on a timer to take a picture.
Because you should always document your crimes. Documenting this crime spree was the best idea we ever had.
Yeah. But this the photograph goes off poorly timed because Ed is leaning into pressuring High about the responsibilities that he'll have and how they're going to sort of handle raising this kidnapped baby. Something you think they might have addressed before executing this crime, but it is a pretty solid joke as the photo that does ultimately get captured is incredibly awkward and hilarious. And we cut at this point to John Goodman's character Gale pushing up through like mud in a field outside of the prison and just screaming inanely for an inordinate amount of screen time. This is not the only time they do this in this film. It's fantastic. I'm a big fan. After he escapes, he pulls out Evil behind him, and then there's a scene of them like caked in mud, fixing their hair with pomade in a bathroom mirror of what I can only assume is a gas station before taking off in a vehicle. At this point, we cut to High and Ed being woken up by a pounding on the door with somebody yelling out, "It's the police, open up." Obviously, High and Ed are freaked out by this. I'm not 100% certain, but I think High might even have like a pistol in his hand as he
Yeah,
goes to...
he pulls out a gun and does some twirly bits.
Yeah. Opens the door to find it to be Gale and Vel. Ed is not super happy about these old convict friends of High's dropping by, primarily because they just busted out of jail and are clearly wanted fugitives, and they just, stole a baby themselves. She excuses herself to bed. When High goes in, he manages to talk Ed around to accommodating the fugitive brothers for 2 nights max, and they go to sleep. And this evening, High dreams of, and I thought this was extra hilarious given when this film came out, but he basically has a dream about Ghost Rider.
Yeah, he does.
Super prescient.
I was watching that and was just like, wait, is this fucking Ghost Rider? What is happening? Because I have not seen this movie in 25 years. So
Johnny Blaze ass character.
Up until he steals the baby, that's all I remember. I remember they steal the baby, and I don't remember much else about the movie. So I was like still very much intrigued by this because I didn't remember it.
Yeah. So High dreams of a motorcycle dressed in barbarian garb, a real Mad Max type character that leaves trails of flame behind him as he cruises through the desert and throws grenades at fucking bunny rabbits, and has 2 shotguns and holsters over his shoulders. And then the dream ends with a bizarre but amazing like POV shot of the motorcycle flying up the ladder to the upstairs window where Mrs. Arizona is screaming outside the crib when she realizes one of her quintuplets has been taken.
So does that mean that his character in this can see the future through dream?
I think what it means is that the Coen brothers predicted in '89 that Nick Cage would eventually come to star in Ghost Rider.
Yeah, that tracks. I think it's more of a literary allusion to prophecy, which is something that pops up in Southern Gothic literature, which this movie is heavily influenced by.
See, it's funny. When I first saw this scene, my initial take was, okay, this dream is a metaphor about High's criminal tendencies inevitably bearing down on his ability to maintain this facade of a happy family life with Ed.
No, that's just a big dude on a bike.
Yep, that is not true. It is 100% literal, and High might have some sort of precog powers of some sort. I love that they did that because there is a perfectly understandable metaphor right there, and they went entirely literal with it.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
that's good
highly
comedy.
entertaining.
It's an inversion of expectations.
Exactly.
in
Exactly.
this universe, did High stop 9/11?
We haven't gotten to that film yet, so I don't know.
Damn it.
um,
Are you saying that Nick Cage is playing the same character in this and World Trade Center?
if so, it would make the World Trade Center film a much more bleak film because he did not use his precog powers to stop it.
And he
But
did
that
not
also
have
means
nearly as cool of hair.
Yeah.
But that also means that the Coen brothers would have directed World Trade Center, which would have been a bonkers movie.
Oh my god. I can only imagine.
Oh, shit. Sorry, you got my brain going down a stream of like predictive programming with like The Simpsons and Family Guy predicting 9/11 and Alex Jones's Crazy Audience. Trying to reorient myself right now.
Listen, I welcome the Alex Jones Crazy Audience as long as they give us money.
Yeah, when InfoWars inevitably shuts down due to the fact that Alex Jones is the most disastrously sued man in American history.
Look, I'll make some protein powder for you. I will make some sort of pills.
We can find turmeric.
Yeah. I'll put some turmeric in a pill and sell it to you. I don't care.
Colloidal silver, we'll look into it. That's our promise.
Coming soon, Cage Fight Dick Pills.
It's just horny goat weed.
Yeah. There's a number of ways we could go with the branding on that, but yeah, no, we'll discuss that in the next marketing meeting. So the next morning, Ed is singing to Junior, which is what they landed on calling Nathan Jr. at this point to obscure the origins of this kid. And we cut to Mr. Arizona being interviewed about the abduction of his child. This is another part where the running joke comes in when they're like, a reporter asks, which one of your children was stolen? And he's like, Nathan Jr. We're pretty sure. The FBI and local police are, of course, fighting each other over jurisdiction as to who is, heading up this investigation. And Mr. Arizona, to his credit, gives a relatively inspiring speech about how the cops have to do their fucking job because right now they're just sitting around wrecking up his house. Pretty funny. So simultaneously, while this is going on, we cut to a scene where police are examining the hole in the ground that Gail and Avell climbed out of during their prison break. And we also get another cut to the Nightmare motorcyclists at the scene and then at the gas station bathroom where Gail and Avell fix their hair. Speaking of those two, we cut to them.
Is this where there's the OPEPOE like graffiti? Because I wanted to shout that out.
Yes.
All right, that's a reference to Dr. Strangelove or How I Learned to Love the Bomb. OPE was the security code that locked down the military base, and POE stands for Peace on Earth or Purity of Essence. The concept that the dude that basically starts the whole fucking possible nuclear war is obsessed with because he's afraid that their foreign fucking spies or whatever are messing with his bodily fluids.
Yeah, I'm almost positive that graffiti is outside of the bathroom in question.
Yeah, I think it was, but just had to shout that out because I love that movie.
No, that's a great call out. So speaking of our fugitives, we cut to them at the counter of High and Ed's household, eating cereal in the sloppiest way you could possibly imagine. Full credit to William Forsythe on this. He manages to dump out like a quarter cup of milk from every spoonful of cereal that he eats. If you track his eating in these scenes, it's amazing, a masterclass. But Ed informs them that they're going to have to make themselves scarce at some point in the day, at least for the afternoon, because they're, quote, having dinner with respectable types. Ed's contempt for these two is incredibly apparent. She does not like them and does not like that they're around. But they agree to these terms. And then we get one of the most anxiety inducing moments in this film for me. A film that is about a bunch of people like barely getting away with crimes the entire time. The most stressful elements of this was the respectable couple and their dirtbag piece of shit children.
Oh my god, those children are horrible. I love them.
Holy shit. So the respectable couple is Glenn and Dot. Glenn being High's supervisor, manager at the factory that he works at.
Yeah, something.
And their horde of awful children. Like, it opens up with like Dot gushing over the new baby while her kids are literally hitting shit with sticks and whatnot. The first time we see them, they're just like hopping on top of High's vehicle and like smacking it with sticks and rocks. And then they transition to inside the trailer and they're still just running around hitting shit with sticks and rocks. One is writing the word fart on the wall.
The one that he says now knows his ABCs.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did appreciate a little bit of Polish slander here with
a little bit.
Yeah.
It's nothing but Polish slander.
With Glenn going, how many Polish people does it take to screw in a light bulb? And High responds slightly off beat with the intended cue up, and Glenn's answer is 3 and just starts laughing. And he's like, wait, no, I fucked that up.
Yeah, it's like, why does it take 3 Polacks to screw in a light bulb? Oh shoot, I don't remember.
Yeah. Which reminded me one of my favorite Norm Macdonald, rest in peace, jokes that I think he told on Conan O'Brien's show, where he's like, so I go into a place and I order a Polish sausage, and the guy goes, so you must be Polish, huh? And he's like, so I respond to him, he's like, if I ordered French toast, would you think I was French? If I ordered a bratwurst, would you think I was German? If I ordered a Cuban hamburger, would you think I was Cuban? You really got to drill it in with these racists. And he's like, no, I was asking because this is a hardware store. Anyway, so yeah, no, this family is giving me anxiety. It looks like it's giving High just as much anxiety. Exactly what they were trying to convey with this scene comes through with flying colors, in my opinion. This portion of my notes, just instead of detailing to you Dot's conversation with Ed and then Ed turning and putting that responsibility on High, I just have Dip Tet written 15 times across my notes. That to say, Dot is imploring Ed to get Dip Tet tests or shots for the kid, and you got to have a pediatrician and all this stuff, and it is clearly stressing High out as much as it was stressing me out. And so High wanders off with Glenn and seeks some advice. It's like,
real quick, this was a scene that was funny to me because this is how you look at a family in 1987. It's like a family full of crazy people. Today, that conversation would go very, very differently. That conversation would go, did you get your kid vaccinated yet? Good. They put mercury in those vaccines.
Yeah. I could see Glenn and Dot going that way super hard in modern times. Very anti-Dip Tet. But High seeks some advice from Glenn, which seems like a good source at the time because he's got a bunch of gremlin children running around just wreaking absolute havoc. And High's question basically is, how do you fucking live like this? And Glenn's response is beautiful because Glenn goes, look, you need to find your outlets. You know Dot. You've seen Dot. You've met Dot. Fun thing to know about Dot. She is a wildcat in the bedroom. So what I was thinking is Ed looks pretty good too. Why don't we work out some of these frustrations? And Hi, being the naive, sweet ex-con that he is like, what exactly are you talking about? And Glenn's like, we should fuck each other's wives. To which Hi reacts by punching him in the face and breaking his nose. It's hilarious.
It's so good.
It has perfect comedic timing.
It is very solid. Just Glenn not realizing the existential crisis that Hi is going through and pitching his swinging lifestyle at exactly the wrong moment. Beautiful. Absolutely hilarious.
This seems like a good break point.
I agree, because we are coming up on 100% my favorite part of the entire film, which is chaotic and is going to be difficult to describe versus actually watching it.
Yeah,
so I'm excited for that challenge.
The last half hour of this movie is absolutely bonkers in the greatest way. I didn't want it. I'm literally watching this movie. I did not want it to end.
I'm not gonna lie. The last couple of movies that we watched, I kept checking the runtime because I was like, how much more of this fucking shit do I have to deal with? And this one I was watching, it was like, they're really gonna wrap this up in that period of time? They could have taken a couple more minutes. I wouldn't have minded.
They could have gone to 100 minutes, 105. Wouldn't have been angry about it.
Exactly.
But honestly, I think it's a perfect length as is. Like, they hit everything that they need to hit.
Like I said, there's no fat on this film. It is incredibly tight and fantastic.
Well, all the fat melted into the meat. That's just flavor, baby.
Oh yeah. That's how you do it. While you're waiting for us to drop the next episode and resolve this cliffhanger of a film, feel free to follow us on social media. You can find us on Twitter at cagefight_pod. I also hear that we have a Patreon.
We do have a Patreon, but before we get to that, I want to start doing a fun game to our listeners.
I like games. Are you the Saw guy? Is your name Jigsaw?
No. It's a much better game.
Okay, so I'm not going to be diving into a bunch of hypodermic needles.
No.
Okay, cool.
No, please.
That's my least favorite thing.
We can make that a Patreon goal.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Oh my God.
I take it you haven't seen that Saw movie.
Ryan, don't. I've seen no Saw movies. Have you met me?
That's the thing that happens in those.
I think that was the second one with
second one,
Wahlberg's
brother. Look, I mean, I'll watch some horror, but like not a big fan of snuff films. But it's also not really a snuff film, I know.
The Saw movies are fucking cartoony as hell, honestly.
We're not talking about an 8mm film, you know what I mean?
Yeah, very true. No, so I was just kind of like chilling today. Work was slow. I was kind of scrolling through my phone. And ever do one of these where you see a news headline and you're not sure if it's real or fake, so you have to check the source?
Every fucking day of my life.
So I'm going to read a news headline at the end of every part one, and you're going to tell us on Twitter whether it's true or false. Because this one I saw, I had to check to see, like, legitimately, because I'm just like, this can't be real. And then I checked, and I'm going to let the listener figure this one out. Please, no cheating. Just put like, yeah, it's true, or no, it's not. Tucker Carlson has reported that Nazi punks fuck off is the earliest form of cancel culture.
Talking about the Dead Kennedy song?
Yes. So Tucker Carlson said that Nazi punks fuck off is the earliest form of cancel culture. True or false? Let us know on Twitter.
I'm going true, but we're not going to spoil it.
I explicitly don't want to weigh in on this one. Good Lord. All right, we'll get that poll set up. God damn it.
Yeah, I
hate this game.
No, I love this game. This is a great game.
Terrible. What's our Patreon?
Patreon.com/Nick Cage Fight, where I don't know, we cancel Nazis. I don't know.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
no,
we
you
endorse and fully Nazi punks can fuck off.
You can listen to all of our episodes without advertisements. You can also get Patreon only episodes. We have watched Nick Cage adjacent movies such as Shadow the Vampire as well as Nosferatu. We've watched the Community episode where Abed needs to figure out if Nick Cage is good or bad. We've done a few things that have been fun. We're going to watch The Wrestler at some point.
Coming soon.
Coming soon. We've had some other talks though, which is, watching the original Bad Lieutenant, the original Gone in 60 Seconds, watching I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which is the other adaptation that what the hell is his name? Charlie Kaufman?
Yeah.
That Charlie Kaufman did.
Kaufman,
So
right.
so we can compare it to adaptation and see which one we like more. I have a feel.
See if he fucking redeems his ability to write adaptations.
Yeah, there's a lot of things we can do. So that's what you got on
Exciting
Patreon.
things coming. Watch this space. And yeah, that'll do it for us for now. As always, listener, we appreciate you.